Hello, welcome to your week 4 lab 3 lecture video. Not really going to have a lot of slides today. I'm just going to talk about a few concepts and show you kind of how it's going to work only in Packet Tracer, and then we're going to do the lab. Before I begin, I do apologize. I'm sick still, so hopefully I don't sound horrible, and hopefully I don't have to pause a lot. In Lab 2, which you should have already done before starting Lab 3. And if you haven't, go back and do it, because you're going to need to do it. In Lab 2, we created that WW instance, right? With a static IP of 10.3.45.11. And we set up port forwarding. Now, the way port forwarding is going to work, and it's going to be important in a minute. Actually, maybe I will have some slides. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. The way port forwarding is going to work for us. If you recall, you've got your workstation VM, right? Or it could be a physical install, up to you depending on how you did it. And when you SSH to your router instances IP and user using the SSH command, you get in, right, with the path to the key. But when you SSH specifying the port, in this case 2211, right, then that SSH connection, hold on, let's see if I can just move that. I don't want that one there. I'm doing this in Packet Tracer because I suck at Paint, but maybe Paint was the better way to go. I don't know. So this, whoops, no, I can't. When you SSH using this, you're actually going through your router's firewall, which is IP tables, and then it's forwarding you along to here. Now, this is an important concept because, and it's WW instances port 22 you're getting forwarded to. It's an important concept because we're going to port forward, well, pretty much everything in this course. Understanding how port forwarding works is pretty much everything for the course. It's the thing that students get stuck on the most, honestly. So that's port forwarding, which brings us to our next couple things we're going to touch on. That I know I said there wasn't going to be any slides. I'm actually stealing these from another course that I teach at another college that I use AWS in. But it's helpful here because there's some elements of the stuff I do there that we're going to use here, albeit in a slightly different way. So we're going to port forward incoming port 2211 from the router to 22 on WW. And in Lab 3, we're going to install Apache and PHP, and we're going to create a really simple web page. So here's why we're using Apache, really. It's one of the most popular web servers on the internet. It is, we've talked about LAMP stacks before, right? Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. Well, Apache is the A in LAMP stack, right? P also being the P in PHP, at least most commonly. There's other things that can be substituted for the server-side scripting language, but Apache's super popular. It's number 2. This is from May last year, but Apache and Nginx are kind of, they keep jumping between 1 and 2 and have been for a very long time. So Apache is a popular, free, open source web server. It's available cross-platform. It's been around since 1995. It was based on the original web server, the NCSA HTTPD, which was based on the CERN HTTPD. It was created by Tim Berners-Lee, the guy who created the World Wide Web, WWW. It's maintained by the Apache project, or Apache Foundation. They maintain the Apache project amongst other things. And part of the reason Apache is very popular is its configuration is modular. So you can customize it with whatever features you want specific to your web-based application. And amusingly, it says you'll be configuring Apache server in Lab 3. That's exactly what you're going to be doing in that same lab, even though this is for another course. Isn't that funny? That's Nginx. We're going to skip it. So Apache uses the client-server model. It uses 2 ports for communication, port 80 and port 443. Port 80 is the default port for HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and that's plain text over the internet. HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, is an extension to HTTP, which provides encryption, and that uses port 443. We're going to need to remember those ports for both our port forwarding and in our security group configuration. When your client, your web browser, sends out an HTTP or HTTPS request, it's sent to the server on that respective port. And then the server responds with the HTML code, which is interpreted by your browser, and your browser displays the web page. Document root is a directory on your server that your web server stores its default website files. These could be HTML, CSS, PHP, other things. You're not learning how to write HTML5 and CSS3. You're going to learn a little bit of PHP this week. I'm going to show you some. And the default location for document root is var www.html. And that's where you're going to be storing your files that you're going to be using for your web server. Isn't that great? Which brings us to our next point. PHP. What is it? You're going to learn a little bit of PHP, right? PHP is an open source general purpose scripting language. It's commonly used for web development, and it can be embedded into HTML. It's really cool. So instead of using a bunch of commands to output the HTML, you can have PHP and HTML in the same. I know this isn't a web design course, but I do teach web design, right? That's where I swiped these from. I created them, so I didn't really swipe anything. I'm just reusing stuff I already created. PHP and HTML code can be in the same file, and the PHP pages contain HTML with the embedded code, and the embedded code does something. PHP code has to be enclosed in special characters, start and end characters. The opening is the angle bracket question mark PHP, and it closes with a question mark in the closing angle bracket. And it kind of allows you to jump back and forth between PHP mode and HTML mode. A cool thing about PHP is it was developed by a Canadian, a Danish Canadian, in 1993, was released in 1995, and it's the most common element in the LAMP stack, which we've talked about, right? Linux, Apache, MySQL, MariaDB, MongoDB, PHP, Perl, Python, right? Very popular. PHP powers, give or take, 80% of the internet. It varies a bit. This is, again, from July last year, so it may be a little bit differently if you go check out the stats now. But it's useful to learn. A lot of content management systems, like MediaWiki and WordPress, are written in PHP. Facebook, Wikipedia, and WordPress.org, all written in PHP. So it's pretty embedded in the market. It's been around a long time. People have been saying it's going away for a long time. It hasn't gone away yet, has it? Very, very popular still. So to create a PHP script, and we're going to create a really basic PHP page. We're doing this because PHP is a prerequisite for the thing you're going to be installing in Lab 4. It's written in PHP. So you need PHP on the server. We're just writing a really basic PHP page for the sake of doing it without having to do too much. That thing we're doing in Lab 4, by the way, is Nextcloud. The name escaped me for a second, but it popped back into my mind. So you're going to install it with sudo not apt dnf. This is for Ubuntu. Install PHP, and then you can just start writing your scripts. PHP scripts end in the .php extension. Here's a sample one, right? So this would print out hello world on the screen. Though technically using echo like that is bad form when it comes to PHP. So that's it for slides. With all that in mind, let's jump into Lab 3. So I'm already logged into AWS. In fact, I've been logged in for like 10 minutes while I was talking about other stuff. I should be able to access my instance from last week. Let's see what I got going on here. There we go. Yeah, I got first and WW. So let's see if I can get into my first. Oops. So I'm going to change into my OPS 345 keys SSH directory. Actually, I'm not because I want to show you can do something different. So this one right here, I'm going to swipe that because that worked. I'm going to copy it, not just pull it from my my history, because I want to modify it a bit. Whoops. Let's try that again. Hit the wrong button and it caused issues. So if I put the path to the directory in here, ~/OPS345/keys/SSH, it should still work. Look at that, it did. And note, I technically don't need the ~/ right? Because it's relative to my current directory. So there's multiple different ways you can get in there, right? I could also, and then just use the use that one, right? So which one is the correct way? I mean, they all work. None of them are more correct than the other. They all work. Let's also make sure our port forwarding works. I'm just gonna up to go through my history. Whoops. Connection refused. Let's go see what's going on. This is some good troubleshooting. I suspect what happened is my IP tables config did not persist. So how do we check that? Well, we log into our router and sudo IP tables -l -n -tnet. Yep, I saved it and it didn't persist. That's a problem. So we're going to go back to lab 2 for a minute, because without that port forwarding, it's not going to work. I'm going to re-add those rules. And it's there actually. That's really bizarre. Well, that worked, actually. I don't have to redo too much because it was already saved in the configuration file. I should have done a status to see if IP tables was actually running or not. I forgot to enable it. So that started it for the first time. That's why there was nothing there. So always check that that's working first, right? Now this should work. And look at that. We're into our instance. That's awesome. So those are the places where you could go wrong. Now we're going to install HTTPD. So let's do that. Technically you can use Yum or DNF. DNF is the replacement for Yum though. So I'd get comfortable using DNF. And I included the -y option, so I didn't have to do anything. Next, now that that's installed, we're going to go back here for a minute. And we are going to go into Elastic Block Store. It's right there on the side. Look at that. Volumes. We're going to click on Create Volume. We're going to set it to 1 gig, I think. Yeah, 1 gig. We scroll down. we're going to give it a name. So name, and its value is going to be www data. Hopefully that works. And we're going to click create. And there it is. Oh, the name didn't take. That's fine. www data. Save. And it's creating. Now we're going to need to attach it. So if we make sure we can check it, right? Check mark beside it. We're going to attach. We can't attach it yet because it's still creating. Now it's available. So let's attach it to WW right there, right? And the default location is going to be, well, look at that. It tells you SDF. Just let it go with the default. Don't change it. That comes up a little bit later in the lab, and we know that information now, so we're good. Now, we go back into our WW instance, and we take a look. Sudo ls dev sd star. Oh, look, it's right there. It's already there. EBS volumes are like hot swappable drives. You don't have to reboot the system for it to see it, which is kind of nice. You just pop it in and boom, it's there. So it's showing up correctly, and let's check the size. Block dev -- get size 64 dev SDF. Yeah, there we go. It's a gig. So we're going to do some LVM stuff, just like we did in OPS 235 LVM logical volume management, right? So we need to install the LVM2 package. There we go. I usually include the -y just because I'm lazy. We're going to create a volume group. Now, you could switch to root with sudo -i, right? Or you could just put sudo in front of each one. Up to you. I'm switching to root because I could, or switching interactively anyway. So VG create VG _ www dev xvdf. There we go, it created it. And lv create -n lv _ www -l 100% free vg _ www. There you go. Note, if you make any typos here in the naming, I mean, it'll work. It won't throw an error or anything. But you're just going to have to use that modified configuration. So keep that in mind. Try not to make any typos. Just be careful. And if we look at ls-l dev mapper vg _ www -lv _ www, we see it's there. So that's good. Now we're going to format it with make file system ext4 -l www dev mapper vg _ ww. Yep, there we go. Yep, formatted. Good to go. And we're going to mount it. So let's take a look at var www. So we see it's there. We got some stuff. So if we mount dev mapper vg there to var www, and then we do an ls. So we see it says lost and found, right? So that means there was a file system mounted there, and we've mounted something over top of it. We know things are okay, and we don't need the contents that were there anyway, so it's fine. We're just gonna set this to do it on boot. So if we go into, now obviously if this previous command didn't work, this mount, we don't see that, we do not want to add this to fs tab, right? Because any errors in that file system, or that's the file system table, right? We learned about that in OPS 245. Any errors in that configuration file in etc fs tab, your file system table, will cause your instance to not boot. And if it doesn't boot, guess what you got to do all over again. We don't want that. So we're going to add a single line to this. I'm using vi. You don't have to. How did I get to the end? $. Dev mapper vg www lv www var www ext4 defaults 0 0. I don't think it matters if we use spaces or tabs there. I tabbed. I think in Andrew's example he used a space. That's okay. So we're going to see if it worked. Oh, it's already mounted, so we need to unmount it. And then let's unmount it again to confirm. Yeah, there's our old stuff. Mount var, whoops. Mount var ww. I do an ls. Nice, it worked. So now that worked, oh, we can actually do this as well. Mount, run the mount command, and grep for www. You can run it without the filter, but could get ugly. There we go, we see it's there. We know it works, that's good. Don't reboot if this didn't work, because bad shit is going to happen. But we want to reboot and make sure it persists. So let's reboot. I'm going to pause for a couple minutes while that goes down and comes back up. Alright, and I'm back. It was maybe a minute or two, and look at that, it's back up. And if we do var www, look at that, it mounted. We could run our command we just did right there, sudo mount pipe grep www, and we should see the same output. So that means it's working, and we're good. So now we're good to proceed, right? It persisted through a reboot. Everything's good. Obviously, if it isn't, fix it before you proceed. So now we're going to create var www html. So mkdir, I think we need sudo for this actually. Let's actually see. Let's dash L. Who owns that? Yeah, root. So we're gonna need var www html, or you could use sudo dash I. And then we're going to create a web page. www html index.php, and we go, yep, hello, this is not a great PHP page, by the way. My web server still works. I'm going to use a break tag in there. Technically that should be I'm going to do it the proper way because I can. That should be a P, and we should have a doc type, whoops, declaration. We should technically put some stuff in the head, but we're not going to because we don't care, and this should be in the body. That should be tabbed over. Oh, look at that. That's looking a bit better. There we go, my web page still works. If this shows the current date and time, PHP works too. Oh, used Vi to write a... I don't use Vi to write code often. So PHP, so we're going to call some PHP in here, right? System, we're going to call the date command. So kind of like in you learn Python in OPS 245, maybe not. OS.system, right? Similar. Anyway, let's save that. And let's see if it works. So if we go to our how do we see if it works? Oh, we got to start Apache. Hold on. We got to do some other stuff first. I'm jumping ahead of myself. So it wants us to change the ownership of the HTML directory to your user. Okay. Sudo ch own -r. I always get this part backwards. I think we should have switched our user. I didn't. Doesn't matter, we're going to delete this anyway. Oh, look at that. That took, hopefully. Yep, it's owned by EC2 user. It's good. Is HTTPD running or Apache service? No, it is not. So let's start it. And make sure it's running on boot. See, you can do both in one line, right? Just by separating them by a semicolon. And then everything should work. And if we install links, which is a command line web browser, oh, it's elinks. Then we type links http://localhost. We see our default Apache page. So it works. That's good to know. Also, links only really good for doing quick verification things like that. We want to see the PHP page. Localhost /index.php. Yeah, we don't see a date. We actually don't see anything there. That's weird. So let's Q to get out of that. It just didn't parse it at all. We need to install PHP. There we go. And then restart Apache. And we should see, now if we do that, oh look, we see a date and timestamp. Nice. Yeah, we want to get out of there. Now we're going to do our port forwarding nonsense. Let's get out of here. We're almost done it, actually, believe it or not. We're going to go into our router instance because we're going to do some port forwarding. I'm going to edit that file there. This is the easy, quick way to do this. So in the pre-routing, here we go. I'm just gonna -a pre-routing -p tcp -dport 80 -j dnet -2 10.3.45.11:80. Did you know you could do that? Isn't that super handy? Now, watch what happens. I'm gonna save that. I do let's do our look at our IP tables. It's not there, right? But isn't that awesome? Look at that. So I didn't have to do any super long command. I just had to input that into the config file. It's another way you can do things, just throwing it out there. Also, it's still not going to work, right? If we exit and we try to do access our web page, it's still not going to work, right? Why? Security groups. So we need to modify our security groups. We need to go into two security groups. So router security group first. We need to add a rule to allow port 80, or if you scroll to the list, it's HTTP from anywhere. Save. And we need to go into WW security group. And we need to add a rule. So edit rules, right? Add rule. Port 80, which is HTTP, from our router security group. Save it. And now, if we go to our Elastic IP, let's copy that. And paste it into a web browser. It's going to fail by default. Don't freak out. Oh, it didn't fail by default, actually. Weird. It worked. Usually it fails because it automatically tries to put HTTPS : // So you just type that. Fucking weird that actually worked. Maybe they fixed that? No. Let's weird. Let's try that. Yeah, it just worked out of the box. I'm not gonna argue. Usually, like in the past, anytime I've used this before, it tries to request HTTPS first and then fails, and then it redirects to HTTP. I guess it just works now. So we're gonna make that that web page a little bit better first. So we need to get back into our WW instance. And now that you've changed the permissions on that directory, you should be able to just open that with vi. You don't need sudo. So we got our head. We're going to add some style in there. Technically, you would indent that one. Just proper style dictates. And we're going to specify we want the body, background, dash color. Note it's the American color, or spelling of color. POWDER, blue. This is all given to you in the lab, right? So table, this is, the CSS here is going to make our web page look a little nicer. Border, spacing, we don't have a table yet, we're going to put one in. 1 cm, 0 cm. Our H2, we want its color blue. Table headings, we're going to align them left. Text align left. If you ever need a reference for this stuff, by the way, W3 Schools has some great stuff. I use it all the time, and it's free. Free is good, right? Color, red, or just ask. I mean, I do teach an Intro to Web Design course as well. I teach that at Centennial, but so that closes our style out, and then we're going to add some crap in here. H2, instance, info, whoops. that pink? I don't know what's going on. Let's see if this works still. So our table, I'm gonna close the tag right away because I always forget if I don't. We're gonna add a row with the tr tag. We're gonna close it right away. God, I haven't done this stuff in Vi in years. And we're gonna add 2 headings with the th tag. Configuration. Whoops. Tab too far. And its value. So this is the stuff that's going to appear in our table, right? Now we're going to run some PHP. So we need to go into PHP mode. This one's crazy long. Token. Whoops. You can just copy paste this. It's probably a bit faster. I'm just going to pause and type all this crap in because you don't want to see me type all this, do you? I'll show you it when it's done. It's going to make a faster video. Let's do that. Okay, I know I said I wasn't going to show you coding all of it, but I've done a bunch. Quick shortcut though. I'm going to swipe this, YY, if you're not sure, and P to paste it. I'll paste it below. And then change local to public. Save yourself a ton of typing. Or copy paste. Like, I didn't enable copy paste from the my host to my VM. That's why I'm doing it this way. So close our row. Table's closed. Our body's closed. Yeah, I think we're good. So let's save it. Let's see. Moment of truth. Control F5. Oh yeah, it worked. Now, if you get a level 500 error, internal server error, that indicates that there's something wrong in your code. So go fix that. But that should work. We're not going to remove the public IP from the server. There's a whole bit about trying to do it. You can just have it not assign one, and we're just not going to do it. It's fine. So we're going to, now that we got everything working, we're going to delete our instance, and then we're going to recreate it. But because we saved this, hold on, something funny going on here. Let me go look. Because we saved this on our instance, in our Elastic stuff, we should be good. Elastic stuff, or Elastic block storage. Then yeah, it'll work good. Why is that showing up red? That's bugging me. It shouldn't be showing up red. Oh, because we set that to weird. I mean, I could just remove the paragraph tag there. There's better ways to do that. But it's not a web design course. I'm just going to leave it. It's fine that it's red. So, let's delete our instance. Yay. Now, don't panic, because when you delete the instance, let's make sure we delete the right one as well, right? We're going to delete www. We're actually just going to click on it to make sure we're there. Yep, it says www, right? Don't delete your router. We're going to click terminate. Instance go by, but again, our website's not going to disappear, so we're going to be okay. Now we could, I'm going to skip the next part, set our subnet, set the subnet to not auto-assign public IP addresses. I'm just not doing it. So let's just ignore that. or I'm going to ignore that. It's up to you if you want to do it. That means it's going to, if you leave it checked, they're going to get public IP addresses, and they're going to get external access to the internet for when you want to install stuff. If you do remove that, all traffic to and from your instance is going to have to go through your router, and you're going to have to assign an elastic IP to it temporarily to update the thing. It's kind of a pain. I'm just not going to do it. So we're going to create a new instance, launch instances, right? This time we're going to call it www. It is our web server. Let's make sure we select Amazon Linux 2023. Yep. We're going to edit our network settings, right? Make sure it goes into the correct VPC. It's in the correct subnet. You could disable that too here, right? Just throwing it out there. Select the existing group, and we want to put it in our WW security group, because that wasn't deleted. And we want to give its primary IP under Advanced Networks Configuration. We're going to give it 10.3.45. Whoops. This is vital because that way our port forwarding that we did will still work here. And let's give that a go. Launch it. Give it a minute. Should work. Oh, I forgot my key pair. So use your key pair. Yeah. Launch. There we go. Now it's going. If we click, it's going to load it up. And we see it's pending. I'm just going to get rid of the filter. Refresh. Pause for some water. Take it a minute and it'll be up, right? There we go. It shows it's running. Oh yeah, because I deleted it while I was logged in. Oops. So we're going to get an error, right? Because our IP changed. That's fine. So you just type this. It gives you the command to fix it. Look at that. Paste. And then say yes. Yay, that worked. We're good. We're going to create our new user, right? Just like we did in Lab 1. There you go, pull those instructions up. So we're going to, oh, okay, the command's not there. User add -m, JM Carmen. We need to swipe all this stuff. Let's make this first. OPS 345 dash, yep, 10 dash OPS 345 dash users. Okay, whoops. Go to insert mode. There we go. All equals all. Save it. And let's steal those keys. cp-r.ssh, oh, lowercase r. Tilde JM Carmen. And we got to make that change, remember? That wasn't in here. We'll do that in a second. CHO-R JM Carmen. Whoops. Missed the -r. There we go. Sudovi. JM Carmen. SSH. Oops. Let's actually just do an ls first. we vi authorized keys. Oh, we actually didn't have to do anything because that thing wasn't there anymore. Nice. So now if we type exit and we specify JM Carmen, we should get in hopefully. Yay, we're in. Whoops. Yeah, we're good. So that part worked. I'm not going to delete the EC2 user because it's good to have as a backup. We're going to set our host name to. Let's just. I'm going to exit for a second. I want to see what I set my router host name to. I think I just set it to router. Oh. Oh, it's the whole thing. Okay. Back in. Look at that. So sudo hostname ctl set dash hostname router, or not that router, it's www.jmcarmen.ops345.ca. Helps if you spell properly. Yeah, simple typo, and then hostname ctl to confirm it took. We could reboot to confirm it took. We don't need to do that. And now we need to reconnect our WW data. So if we go to our volumes in our Elastic Block Store, we see it's available. The same thing, attach to www, SDF. It's there. And we just want to mount it. We don't have to do all the extra stuff. We just want to mount it. So, oh, because we didn't install Apache. Yeah, let's do that. I think that was in the instructions and I missed it. Let me double check. Yeah, it was a thing. So we need to DNF, not apt. I've been doing too many things in Ubuntu. Install LVM2 HTTPD PHP. There we go. All that stuff's there. Yay. Interesting. What was the trick with this? Pause and figure it out. I'll tell you when I get back. Hooray! I fixed it. I figured it out. So if you're typing this here, sudo ls lv mapper, after you've reattached that volume, and this is not showing up, you're just seeing control, try going into your volumes, check it, go to actions, and detach it, and then attach it again. Something must have gone wrong when I don't know. It's there now. So sudo ls dev mapper vg dash lvw or vg ww. That's what it is. There's an underscore there. There we go. See, it's there. Good. So let's try mounting it. Sudo mount dev mapper vg underscore www dash lv underscore www to var www. Nice. Our thing is there. Nice. That's there. Let's unmount it. One paused, right? Yep. And let's fix fs tab. Actually, before we unmount it, let's remount it. And let's do a mount grep www to confirm. Yeah, it's there. Now let's unmount it. And let's add it to our fs tab. My daughter is upstairs being very loud at the moment, as you can tell. So dev mapper vg underscore www dash lv underscore www space var www ext4. I think I put tabs last time, but see, it's gonna work just fine. Mount. Yay! Whoops. Whoops, I didn't mean to unmount it. I wanted that. Never mind, I'm just going to... There we go, it's mounted. Good to go. Good to go. Let's see if everything still works. Whoops. Oh, nothing. Is Apache running? Nope, it's not. And let's do a status to confirm. It's running. Whoops. This should work now. Fuck yeah. Everything's good. There's our everything. Oh, that was a bit stressful troubleshooting. Trying to figure out why that wasn't showing up. But yeah, just try to disconnect it and then reconnect it if that works, and you can skip the removing the public IP. It's fine. So there you go. I want to see this. I want to see your elastic block storage device that it's attached, right? So in volumes, we see it's called www data and it's in use. And that, well, show me Apache running, right? Apache running. This is proof, really, that Apache's running. But those three things, take screenshots, submit them. Take care, be safe, have a great week. See you in the lab. Bye for now.